Welcome back to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today we got to talk about Kyler Murray. We absolutely have to talk about Kyler Murray, and we might talk about the athletics, QB tiers, maybe just a quick word on that. But anyway, let's talk about Kyler Murray and his contract. So for those who have, I'm pretty sure y'all have already heard. This is not a news channel, but this is a news episode though, duh. If you haven't heard, Kyler Murray signed his new contract, second richest in the league history. And also it was leaked that there's a clause in his contract that he has to study film. So first off, I think Ian Rappaport and maybe Mike Florio were the first to break that, but they posted like the actual contract, like the clause. And I'm just trying to figure out who did this. Some people are speculating the team might have leaked it. Okay. Obviously, Kyler didn't leak it. So I don't know that either one of them would stand to benefit from this. What I think it was is that this was just so wild that, I don't know, somebody notarizing it, somebody looking over it, somebody that is not part of the front office, like legit, and definitely nobody that's part of Kyler's team might have saw this and was like, let me take a picture of this. They might have just took a picture and retyped it all up. I don't know. So we saw like the actual wording. So this was beyond like a leak where like, oh, Ian Rappaport says a source very close to the contract said. No, we actually saw it. So that's interesting to me. But the fact that this is a thing. Look, I've said this before, for the few people that listen to the contract talk. You can put anything in a contract. They call it the rules of the four corners. Whatever is in between those four corners on the page is what goes, as long as it's not illegal and blah, blah, blah. And so people, I don't know, they think it's Madden or something where you just change the numbers and say, here's the contract. No, there's a ton of language in there. And so it could be whatever. It could be whatever. And so while this is probably a first, it's not unprecedented for someone to have something in there. I would say think of it like with fat players. We've seen that. Nobody blinks at that. If you are a fat player that is, beyond certain weight we want you, or even if it's your body fat, and the team says, okay, this has been a problem, this could cause injury, it was a problem, it's a potential problem, whatever. For you, we need you to come in at this weight. For every pound you overweight, you get charged this, whatever. We've seen that, many versions of that. And so if you got if you got a player that is late all the time, you might put in a contract for every time you late, you got to do this or whatever. And so I look at it as that. If you are a player that we don't feel is studying enough film, we could do that. So yes, this is unprecedented. It's something we haven't really heard of, but I'm going to say I'm a fan of it going forward. When you look at the NBA mostly, but the NFL too, mostly quarterbacks, with what players are doing now, quote unquote player empowerment and all that. Look, I'm fine with the players exercising what they have. Some is too much, like a Kevin Durant. Deshaun Watson was too much for me, and before all the, allegations. But so some stuff I don't think makes sense. You just being a diva. But I think, for the most part, I'm fine with players executing their power. I think on the other hand, if a player is going to say, like a LeBron, I'm going to take a 1+1 to hold you accountable, else I'm leaving. Or anybody on a short deal, I'm going to do XYZ. I'm going to make you do XYZ or I'm leaving. You need to hold up your end of the deal. That players keep saying that now. Well, as a team, okay, you need to hold up your end of the deal as well. Like, we're paying you. And your contract, even though a lot of people have incentives and whatnot, for the most part, it's not like, hey, you don't get paid if you don't play well. No, we are paying you to play for this organization. And so if it fits your situation, I think it makes sense to put in a contract. Like I said, we've seen versions of this before, usually not with a quarterback and definitely nothing like this. So that's how I feel in general. It's still funny though. It's still really funny. It's funny to me because A, is something totally within Kyler's control. But also B, it's sports. It ain't hurting nobody. So I'm going to be honest. I'm laughing at the pain right now. It's hilarious because like this in itself is whatever. Like I said, it's not crazy. But the fact that someone really leaked this all the way out is hilarious because now everybody's going crazy. Obviously, the media is going to cover it, but the fans on the internet going nuts. And so it's just been a whole day of really just listening to some interesting takes. But yeah, overall, I mean, there's no way around it. Oftentimes, one of my favorite activities outside of numbers assessment, football, and stuff is PR. I love it. I always love it. It's cringy sometimes. This is kind of cringy. I always just think, what would I do if I was the PR person? So if you're for the Cardinals, what do you tell the coaches and them to say at their next? Like, because they're going to spin it. I always love honesty. I'd rather them just come out and tell the truth. Obviously, it's entertainment. They try to sell tickets. They're not going to do that. So they're going to try to spin it. I can't figure out a way you spin this. You cannot deny. First of all, let's start here. He's required to watch 4 hours. 4 hours of film a week. Not a day, a week. And so, obviously, this is not, this is not something where it's like we're trying to push you to a new level where the greats are. This is more like you're not doing anything. And I didn't realize it till hearing a lot of people, to be honest. That number makes it more funny. Like, again, if you said you're required to do, let's say something reasonable, 20 hours a week. So you got 6 days before the game. So 20 hours a week, that's less than 5 hours a day, you're fine. So that would, okay, that'd be reasonable. But they said 4 hours a week. Obviously, okay, if they said, hey, Kyler, we guess, is doing 10 hours a week of film study, why would you put it in the contract lower than what you think he's doing? So whatever you put in the contract, you think he's doing less than that. Less than 4 hours of film study. Now, also, let me say this, because a lot of people jumping on this. Some people are saying he could be so much better. Film study is not a silver bullet. Film is very important. I love film. I'm a coach, all that. And to a player, film is just as important, especially in the NFL where there's nothing in your life but football. Like, again, coaching high school, you might, even if you work at the high school where you see the students a little more, you got to teach class. They got to go to class. You got all types of stuff you got to deal with. You get a certain amount of time every day to do football. And the NFL is nothing but football. So what they deliver on Sunday should be more complicated, which means you should spend more time studying. So don't get me wrong, but it's not a silver bullet. Some people saying that, hey, he's been this good, he could be 2 times as good with film study. No. There's some players that study more film than coaches and don't start. And so it's not a silver, but it always helps. Film study is never a negative, but it's too many factors. As you know, I talk about a lot. And when it comes to football, there's so many factors that have to go right. So I'm not sitting here saying, like, oh, wow, you are an idiot, XYZ, because you could have leveled up. I'm not saying that. What I'm really just saying is that for whatever reason he has, 4 hours clearly shows he was not doing much. Probably 0. And I know there's quotes out there, they say he's not into film like that. And there's many players that have said that. And so I don't think, again, it's like earth shattering, but I would say it clearly shows they think you're not studying film, because they could have put a lot of stuff in there. They could have said show up early, and it might be in there, honestly, we don't know. They could have said show up early. They could have said buy the O-line gifts. They could have said stay late. They could have did a lot of things, but clearly they said the one thing that we really want to make sure we get in there is your film study. You clearly don't do any, and that's a red flag for people, but it's funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. The jokes, oh my God. Okay, let me tell y'all the best joke I saw, because there's a lot of jokes. Somebody said in the comments of YouTube, of course, somebody said, plot twist, Kyler Murray starts a YouTube channel called Film Study with Kyler Murray, where he records his 4 hours a week and breaks down film. Well, you would have to release it like a week later, because you're not going to show that before a game. But that is hilarious. I pray to all that is holy. I might tweet at Kyler Murray. And it's not my idea, but I need him to do that. There's no reason he can't do that. That would be absolutely hilarious. First of all, to troll the Cardinals is funny, but also he would really blow up. That would become an absolute thing. But yeah, it's all types of jokes. It's all types of jokes out there, and they've been hilarious. So, Kyler Murray, look, at the end of the day, so far, he hasn't produced what you needed, especially in certain times. And you know, there's many players I haven't deep dive on. Obviously, prior to last year, I did film on many players. But Kyler, for me, is someone I love coming out. I loved him in the league. But at the end of the day, what you've seen the results on the field, excuse me, is that he could be a lot better than just his raw talent. And again, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he's just been out there on raw talent." That's ridiculous. These people practice. You know how many practice and meetings they have and stuff. So yeah, he might not be doing it after work, but he's at work getting it in. First of all, film is like the 4th priority, maybe 5th in the NFL. It's icing on the cake. With like actual film of the opponent and what you're going to do that week, that happens at practice. That's way more important. If you ask me, would I rather have a quarterback that is not participating or paying attention in practice, or a quarterback that doesn't watch film at home? Come on, the answer is easy. Practice is the biggest thing. So, we're not saying that it's the end all be all, but at the same time, you watch what he does and you see that on talent alone, which a lot of players do, he's at a certain level. To get to the next level, you really have to put in those extra things. It all has to come together. So, obviously, a lot of quickness, a lot of athleticism. Level 4.5 arm. Not, Josh Allen, but he's got an arm, enough velocity. And, all the things Russell Wilson has, except the play recognition part and the whole mental savvy, which is a big part of the game. So, he's got the potential to go out there and become more, but right now, especially not doing nothing in the playoffs, he's just not there yet. So, while it's all fun and games, I can't wait to see what he does. All right, so the Athletic came out with their quote-unquote, well, really they did all the quarterbacks. I think it was like 40-something, 30-something, but I think it was like 36. But most people was just talking about the top 10, blah, blah, blah. Check it out. I was able, at first they said it was a paywall, but I looked at it today and I was able to see every one. Every quarterback has like paragraphs with what quotes and all that from what the voter says. So check that out. I'm going to just say this. For those that didn't check it out yet or want to go back and check it out, read what the tiers are. As you know, I'm in education. I'm in assessment. All those are my big things. We have such a lack of awareness. And me, 3 years ago was included. I just learned all this in grad school. We have such a lack of awareness of just the whole system of knowledge and information. Like what it means to make a claim and what builds that up. So a lot of times people want to look at the results and don't care about how it came together. And then they wonder why they arguing so much. So the Athletic did a tier system. They asked 50 people, mostly in current NFL personnel, either coaches, GMs, other personnel people, blah, blah. They asked them to do the quarterbacks in tiers. And each tier has a definition. It's not just, oh, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, we know what that is. No, you don't. It has a clear definition of what a tier 1 is. And so they ranked these 36 quarterbacks or put them in whatever tiers. And then they added up across the 50 and did the average of it. So Aaron Rodgers was a perfect tier 1. Everybody put him in tier 1. Mahomes had one person put him in tier 2. So he's still a tier 1 overall because the average has to be above 1.5, I think. And that puts you in tier 1. So he's the number 2 highest on the list. But one person thought he was a tier 2 quarterback. So people have been picking him, picking stuff out. Mahomes number 2, Aaron Rodgers number 1, Brady here. How come Stafford's not, in the tier 1? They've been picking around, but nobody's talking about the definition. It clearly tells you tier 1 is a quarterback with no holes in the game. The team wins because of the quarterback, or can win because of the quarterback. Quarterbacks put the game on their shoulders. All that. And so some people you might say aren't tier 1. They shouldn't be in there. But some people are saying, oh, this person should be tier 1. They clearly not. Tier 2 is similar. And again, you can look at the exact wording, but it pretty much says, a lot of the skills, but 1 or 2 holes in the game, or they're not consistent, blah, blah, blah. And again, a lot of this is talking about pure passing situations. They use that term a lot. In football, obviously not the Lamars and the Kylers and the read options and all that. We're talking about pure passing situations. So what they're really talking about is not a play action. Again, not a run option, not an RPO. They're talking about something, drop back and make the pass. So from that standpoint, are you somebody that can do that at a high, consistent level? That's more of a tier 1. So when you read through it, just make sure you understand what the tiers are before you go complaining. That's all I'll say. All right, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.